Hey everybody, welcome back to No Jumper. It's Adam22 here with your man AD. Let's get right into these stories. So recently, Rich the Kid declared that 2021 would be the year for his record label, Rich Forever Music, but it seems as though he's already facing some challenges. Brooklyn rapper Critch, who's signed to Interscope Records and Rich the Kid's record label, Rich Forever Music, is requesting to be released from the label, calling out Rich for doing some bad business. "I am not Rich Forever. That shit been a dub," he posted to his Instagram story. "Stop letting these dudes cap about owning masters and shit. They trying to hold dudes in bum-ass deals. Dudes be your brother until the business come up. Then it's all this lawyer talk, contract talk. Some of these rap dudes is just like the lawyers at the labels. Don't trust them snakes. If y'all want new music, go tell them free Critch." Rich the Kid appeared to respond to Jay's publicized criticisms and wrote "loyalty over royalty" on his Instagram story. Recently, Rich celebrated not having to cater to any labels and announced his independence and ownership of his masters, claiming he's no longer a slave to the record industry. "I own all my masters. I'm not a slave no more. P.S. Big CEO." Okay, so put yourself in Jay Critch's shoes here. He seems like he just wants to be released from the record deal that he did with Rich the Kid. From Rich the Kid's perspective, signing a talented artist like Jay Critch to a record deal at a young age, at a low price, it's pretty much the name of the game. That's what all these artists are trying to do. You know, if you sign Justin Bieber in, you know, the first moments of his career and you sign him for a super cheap amount and then he goes on to make millions of dollars, I mean, that's the whole nature of the investment. What do you do when you no longer feel like that person is really interested in investing in your career? Jay Critch obviously wants to go another way. How do you think this should play out?
Well, there's two layers to this. For one, even just reading it, said he signed to Interscope and he signed to Rich the Kid. So even if Rich the Kid released his half, I don't think that, or however much ownership he has, Interscope is not going to be so close to, you know, pull the plug. And a lot of times too, we don't know the deal aspect of it. You know, the studio time costs, all these budgets costs, and if somebody has to recoup and haven't recouped back, the label is not going to give them their masters or anything back. You have to pay for that. Like most of the record deals are loans, you know, per se. Like if you get a $5 million deal, you have to recoup that $5 million back before that you can even talking about getting released or owning your masters and stuff like that. And when it comes down to the other aspect of it, you know, Rich probably gave him an opportunity, you know what I mean, and put his own money into promoting him and bring him up to a different level.
Jay Critch's music is good, but you could definitely argue that the majority of his biggest songs are with Rich the Kid and Famous Dex, and that we might not be sitting here talking about him right now if it wasn't for the fact that we all know about him essentially largely because of Rich.
Yeah, and I don't think even with Lil Wayne selling, you know, some of Young Money's masters and things like that, I don't think that the part that he owns, Drake or Nicki or them are like upset about that. You know, he put them on the forefront of his career. And maybe if Wayne didn't step in, we wouldn't have the Nicki Minaj's and the Drakes and, you know, the big artists like that and Tigers and everybody of that nature. So it's a give and take thing. And, you know, luckily Rich got out of his deal. Hopefully Jay Critch, whatever his deal look like, one day he can get out of it. You know, and I mean, you bet you some recruitment stuff.
You have to think about the incentives of the labels, and when they have an artist like Rich the Kid and he's signing artists to the label, they're in a position where they're gonna, you know, probably want to work on Rich's behalf to make his artist bigger. But then once Rich does leave the label, and especially if the label feels like they kind of got screwed in the process, it probably shouldn't surprise us that much that maybe they're not that eager to focus on Jay Critch's career. And for him, it's like, you know, you're only young once, you're only new once. He's already been out for a couple years. It's like from his perspective, he's just trying to get something going, get anything going. The main thing that I think is interesting is that if you're Rich the Kid, I mean, he's doing, you know, by signing artists, he's doing the same thing that we've seen a lot of different people try to do. Even people who are super established in the industry, like a Drake or a Gucci Mane. I mean, they're always looking for new young artists that they're trying to sign and do that whole business. The thing is that like Jay Critch's career didn't really take off, and we're seeing that as a result, he basically ends up upset with Rich the Kid for the way that, you know, his career is. You can imagine though that if Jay Critch had exploded, that's typically when we do see these situations play out as well, when it's like a Meg Thee Stallion type deal where she blew up and then she wanted to get out of the contract that she initially signed. It's kind of like signing artists is crazy, problematic, and hectic, because if they blow up, they're probably going to not want to fuck with you. And if their career doesn't really go anywhere, they probably also aren't going to want to fuck with you.
And the labels as well too, you know. when the labels invest millions of dollars into you or hundreds of thousands of dollars into you, and their expectations of you don't sell what they thought you were going to sell, they have something where they say they'll put you on a shelf and they won't allow you to release music until, you know what I mean, something hot comes along and that they want to put out an album or put out a single. So
right.
I don't know.
Tough situation. So shout out to Jay Critch and Rich the Kid, and hopefully they can work something out.
Next story. After catching backlash on social media, Summer Walker addressed her controversial post about Kim Kardashian and Kylie Jenner. Summer shared a meme on social media that featured Kim and Kylie's photos with their hands near their faces, revealing the contrast between their natural skin color and the shade of their face makeup. The difference in color between their hands and their faces, the meme read. Shortly after receiving criticism from fans, Summer appeared to backtrack, explaining she was talking about our society as a whole. Initially, she tried to point out how people go to the extreme lengths to look like something they're not, using Kim Kardashian and Kylie Jenner's skin tone as an example. White girls want to be darker, black girls' foundation be too damn light, fat want to be skinny, skinny want to be thick, white girls want bigger lip, black girls want smaller noses, curly girls want straight girls want curly, everyone wants the other person got, my lord, and it's not shade, just an observation. In a later post she stated, I know critical thinking is a very difficult task for the vast majority, but the purpose of the last post was to shed light on how a lot of us, as in me and you, should start figuring out why we always want what someone else has aesthetically. We'll never be satisfied changing modern day beauty standards because it keeps changing. Like every time it's a new trend, we all just gonna continue to alter our bodies, and this goes for every ethnicity. It affects 90% of us.
Summer Walker, not known for holding her tongue on social media. She's just known to pop off at any given moment. She's trying to like basically kind of backtrack a little bit and say that her commentary wasn't specifically about the Kardashians or wasn't specifically about the skin tone issue, and more of a general statement about how everybody else always wants to be the thing that they're not. How do you feel about the way that this was perceived initially, at the very least, in terms of, you know, lighter skinned girls trying to look darker?
I mean, but it's the truth though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I see pictures now where people, like, they make memes and they say that fucking Khloe Kardashian looks closer to Beyonce now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what she's saying is not wrong. Everybody from different races now, and especially with hip hop being in the forefront of everything, think about it. All the Kardashians, for the most part, they like black men. You know what I'm saying? They have black baby daddies, they have interracial kids and stuff like that. So of course they're influenced by black culture, and they're looking more and more as time goes by, more like black women. You know what I mean? And that's what other women are looking at them now and saying, hey, we want to do that now. So now you see white girls getting extra tans and putting cornrows in their hair and shit like that because, you know, like Summer Walker said, it's the most popular thing to do. Even with the lips. Even black girls is getting lip fillers and things like that, and injections, and everybody's getting body alterations and plastic surgery left and right because somebody also wants to look like somebody else. And I think that was the big picture about everything.
But the thing is that I think that, you know, white women wanting to tan, wanting to, you know, look in some ways more like black women is kind of understandable, in particular when you see like black culture kind of being at the forefront of American culture. It's really kind of like only to be expected that some degree they're going to be influenced by that and want to imitate that to whatever extent. The thing that's crazy to me, though, is that when you still see the media in a lot of ways not necessarily, you know, fully embracing black women themselves, but sometimes being really like kind of lined up to embrace people who are basically just like sort of biting off of the aesthetic elements without necessarily the actual inherent culture of it, which is kind of baffling at times and something that I think needs to be addressed.
You just hit the nail on the head with that one. I'll give you that.
Okay, YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be back real soon. And hey, Tuesday at 6 p.m., check out the No Jumper Show, and Wednesday at 6 p.m., make sure you check out At the End of the Day. Appreciate y'all.